No need to avoid white subjects because you don't have white watercolour paint. Don't worry, no white gouache or masking fluid necessary. It can be quick and easy. Let's paint together and I'll show you. Let's paint this lovely simple image of a white duck in some very mucky green water. I must say it was this lovely green water that really inspired me to pick up my watercolour pencil because I happen to have a watercolour pencil pretty much in the colour of that water that I can see in the photo. But of course, you don't need to have such a pencil. In fact, any sort of green or blue or greyish watercolour pencil would do fine. And failing that, you can, of course, just use any regular old pencil. But the advantage of the watercolour pencil is that it's going to disappear and it's going to contribute to the colour that we actually have on the paper. If you're wondering about pencils for drawing underneath your watercolour paper, I do have a separate video about that and I will link it up in the cards. But all I'm doing right now is creating a little outline of my duck using my watercolour pencil. Actually, right now I'm hunting for my eraser because I think I've made the little body a little bit short. And this is the nice thing with the watercolour pencil, that it is easier to erase. I can erase it with a regular eraser, but I could also erase it by wetting it if I needed to. So you've got the chance to adjust your drawing in any way you like. So that's a nice low pressure way to begin the painting. And I am marking in little areas where I can see kind of feathery marks and shadowy marks. And this is the trick to painting something white in watercolor. More on that in a minute, but the other interesting thing about this photo is that there is also the little reflection of the duck, which is so fun to paint because the water is moving. So those ripples are distorting this little reflection, which means we can draw a completely wobbly version of the duck. That is the goal. How marvelous is that? Now, because this is a watercolour pencil and it's in an appropriate colour, I could really just add some water and be done with it. If you want to take it as simple as that, you really can. But I do have a colour called Green Apatite Genuine, which is one of my favourite granulating colours, and I'm dying to paint the water with that. But first, let's pop a bit of colour in that bill. I've got a bit of quinacridone gold, so that's a bit more of a bright yellow colour, and I'm going to pop a bit of that in the bill, in the tip where I can see the highlight. And don't forget to put a little bit of it in the sort of approximate bill area in the reflection as well. Then I'm going to go back for my orange and complete the rest of the bill. And this is where watercolor does its magic and will combine those two colors together. You know, what I mean by combine is that the yellow and the orange will blend together seamlessly and create the effect of that little highlight. Don't forget to pop the orange colour into the reflection as well. And it doesn't really matter if you get it in exactly the right spot. And in fact, you can see the distorted reflection makes the orange appear in some unusual places. So feel free to spot in a few extra bits of orange here and there if you feel that way inclined. Now I've switched to one of my larger brushes. This is actually a cat's tongue. It's really nice because it's got a fine point and it's also got a very wide flat brim, which means it's going to hold a lot of water. And I want a fair bit of clean water in and around the duck where the water is going to be. I'm doing that because I want to paint this water wet into wet in those sort of areas. So I've got nice strong Green Apatite Genuine on my brush, and I'm using the tip of this brush to negatively paint my duck. And this is what I mean by don't paint the duck, because we're not going to paint the duck in white paint. We're going to paint the outside of the duck and leave the duck largely white. That's not exactly true, and that's the important part of painting a white thing. I'm going to tell you more about that in a minute, but let's get the outline in the first instance. So the way to get the outline in is to paint the background. So I am striking in my gorgeous Green Apatite Genuine. It is a delightful color because it's a granulating color, and it is going to split into different shades of very vibrant green and some bit of muddy, textured other parts of it, which is perfect for this sort of water. Now, you don't need fancy paint like that. if you mix up a green using something like an ultramarine blue, you'll find that that will give you a bit of a granulating effect. So I would suggest something like an ultramarine blue and a yellow ochre together to make a nice green if you don't happen to have a green, but mix up a huge puddle of it because you need nice concentrated paint to go around the outside of the duck, and then to have enough to kind of swipe that color out so that you don't end up with a kind of a halo effect around the outside of the duck, but rather paint its outline and then let the color drift out to suggest the water. Don't be shy with the paint here. This is one of the things that I've been finding myself doing a little bit, and this exercise is perfect for reminding me to be a bit more generous with the paint. You know, let those rivers of color run across your damp page, and that is when you're going to see those granulating colors split out. And of course, if you're not using a granulating color and you've just got a single color spreading out across the page, that's going to be beautiful too. You know, don't worry about that. You don't have to paint exactly what you see in the photo, and you certainly don't have to paint exactly what I'm doing. Now I'm painting the reflection negatively as well, which means I'm painting the reflected duck by painting the water around the reflection of the duck. And again, I'm able to use the very tip of this brush. You might just be using your big round brush and just painting with the very tip of it, and that'll help you be nice and accurate enough around here. And remember, to do this bit, you know, you want it to be wobbly and distorted, so it's really no pressure to paint the outside of this reflection. I do want to be a bit careful around these little points, like under the bill and around the sort of shoulder of the duck there, because that is going to give me a nice clean duck shape. And you can see why I put the water around in the first place, because I want to try and do this all before the paint dries, so that it all blends together, that the pond looks like it was all one. If you did it in sections, you might end up with hard edges, which will give you a sort of a patchwork effect, which is not really what we're going for here. And I'm very happy for the edges of the pond water to just kind of disappear. It's kind of a vignette effect where I'm kind of painting the pond water and then using a little bit of dry brush as well, which also suggests some rather lovely watery effects. Now, we've definitely established the duck, but I have to say that this is the important part of painting a white thing that I was talking about earlier. While we can see the outline of it, it really isn't finished, because at the moment it's just unpainted paper, so it looks very, very flat. What we want to do is make sure that we do pay some attention to creating some of the shadowy shapes that we can see. And sometimes when it's a white thing, we tend to convince ourselves that it's all one color, but in fact nothing is actually one color, because the way the light is falling on it is creating these shadows. And with something covered in feathers like the sweet little duck, those curves and the change in the shape of the bird is all going to be very soft. So watercolor is perfect for it. And color-wise, you can actually use just about anything. I'm using what I like to call palette mud. So it's just the colors that are left over on my palette. I had a kind of a purpley bluey gray, and you can use anything. You could actually keep using the green or go for something slightly bluer, a little bit of a gray, a Payne's gray, something like that. The color really isn't important. All we're wanting is a slightly darker mark, and I've just suggested little tiny marks with the tip of my brush, and then I'm softening them off with a clean damp brush. So I don't want to put a whole lot of water that's going to run everywhere, but I do want enough water that it's going to soften out. Now, I also had marked in a little bit of this shadow area with my watercolor pencil. So, of course, the color of that is contributing as well. So using a watercolor pencil to paint this to sketch this little duck has really helped me painting its shadowy shapes. And you don't need much, but what you find by the time you're finished is that when you've painted something white, there is actually not a lot of it that is going to be left with the pure white paper. It has to be obviously very, very much lighter than what is around it, but most of it is going to have shadowy shapes to one degree or another. And one of the most important shadows is where the duck is sitting on the water. So I have put in a nice strong shadow where the body of the duck hits the surface of the water. We want to make sure that that is nice and clear, but I should soften it off. And I'm watching now as I'm doing the voiceover for this and wishing that I had softened it a little bit earlier, but I've got distracted by those lovely shadows. And now I'm putting in the other important shadow, which is under the neck. It kind of gives the sort of cheek of the duck a bit of shape, and it separates the head from the neck and makes that head sit a little bit further forward. And you can see me softening it off there and taking that shadow right up to the back edge of the neck, because really the whitest part of my little duck here is on its back. So we want the neck to be the slightly darker tone in the shadow color so that it's different from the back, which will be the plain unpainted white. The other place that there's always a bit of a recess, so a shadow, is where the eye is. So I want to put little marks next to where the eye is and a little bit where the sort of the I think of it as cheekbones. Do they have cheekbones? I'm sure they must have cheekbones. But kind of where the cheek goes into where the bill starts. There's a little bit of shadow there. But whatever I do, I'm being very careful to just touch the edges with my damp brush to soften the mark out. You can see me doing that now on the shadow shape, and it would have been a bit easier if I'd done it when the paint was still a little bit more damp, but luckily enough, I've got good paper that has held the moisture, so I'm able to loosen up that edge and soften out that shadow that really sits the duck onto the surface of the water and separates him from his reflection. Now the reflection as well will need these shadow marks, and again we're just suggesting them where you can see them on the reference photo if that's helpful, but it's not helpful to get so tied up in the reference. There comes a point in every painting where you can almost let go of the reference completely and just do what your painting needs, and we're really just echoing what we've done in the bird above, knowing that it's very distorted by the water, so it's not going to be too important. I'm just checking whether the eye section is dry, because that is the one place in the duck that I definitely don't want soft edges. I do want to put in the eye and not have it spread out into the whole head of the bird. It did seem to be a little bit more damp than I had thought, so I didn't quite judge that right. But you don't have to panic. You can just blot it and go back again later. And the other thing is, even though I want the eye nice and dark, I don't want to draw a cartoon round circle, so I'm also okay if it's an imperfect mark. In fact, that's really what I'm going for. So with really only a couple of colours and the use of that negative painting technique, we've managed to create our simple little painting. And really, the green in that pond water is doing so much of the work because it's that gorgeous granulating colour. If you want to know more about granulating colours, I've got a whole video about those that you could watch next. I'll pop it up on the screen for you. Happy painting!